Hey there folks, this is GreenXI, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Higurashi. This is episode 18. What we're going to be doing today is getting on to chapter 10. In last episode... Oh god, what happened in the last episode? That was when I just woke up, so I can't remember. Anyway, should we just carry on? Like I said, it's a couple of hours since the last episode, so my cough has gone. Well, it seems to have gone. It'll probably come back now, but we'll give it a go. Tap, tap, tap. Oh yeah, the whole sewing needle thing last episode, wasn't it? The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whomever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Oh, shit. Ah! Eek! I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door. Oh, they're back. Whoa! Keiichi? What's the matter? Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m, but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well. And at the same time, you know, if you've got something you're worried about or something, you don't get proper rest, do you? Because there's different levels of sleep. Like, you don't go into your deepest sleep if you're properly stressed. Because you're ready to wake up and get back to that, whatever you're stressed about, as quickly as possible. Well, Keiichi, how are you feeling? Can you make it to school? I was well enough to go, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it. Fair enough. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? It was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They would try to terrify him. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Renna and Mion. Aren't you glad he didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this. Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine? Uh-huh. Yeah, kinda. Something about my mum's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. Oh god. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill. It'll be hard for you to get back on track once the daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get up! They say wellness is a state of mind. Yeah, I guess, for the most part. I'd heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone. Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is already ready. Already ready. There isn't much time before Renna-chan comes and gets you. Oh, gonna come and get you. Mum's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day. By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? Oh, yeah. You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mum didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, I'd hate it if you missed school tomorrow, came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, don't be absent. Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. For example, maybe I shouldn't pay attention to someone like Higurashi-san enticing me with something unusual. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect it would end up flagging myself as someone who was not wanted. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal. There's no way such a selfish thing could. I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea that I just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rules of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven. Keiichi, your food is gonna get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Yeah, you lazy little shit. Rena will be here if you don't hurry. I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked up my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Oh! I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. That chime signalled that Rena had arrived. He wasn't late though, was he? Mum hurried me along. Come on, Rena-chan's already here. Hurry, hurry. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side, was it the Rena I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. Needed to do things as usual. Oh god. Morning. An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway. I came since Keiichi-kun was a bit late. Will he be okay today, I wonder? I wonder. The manner in which Rena was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rena I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday, pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death and the terminal illness and suicide and the lynching and the disappearances. Forget it all. Forget that Rena and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about everyone. Forget about the mochi, too. Forget. Rena, once again, asked to make sure. Can you make it to school? Yeah, I'm fine. Great! What if he said he wasn't fine? Would you have gone mad? Then let's go. Mi-chan's waiting. Oh, yay. Rena showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief. But you see, Sadako-chan was so insistent she could do it. As we were walking, Rena talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual. Then? Sadako-chan is clumsy, so she failed him no matter how many times she tried. She was so cute. Oh god, she's off. Everything Rena talked about was just silly nonsense, so just replied every so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation. We passed by one of our neighbours, and they called out to us. Oh my, Keiichi-chan and Rena-chan. Aren't you two a bit late today? Mion-chan said she was going on ahead. Uh-oh, did Mi-chan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry, Keiichi-kun. As we smiled and parted ways with our neighbour, they turned back towards me and stuck out a tongue. No expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile. Keiichi-kun smiled. What? Rena stopped and stared at me. I was thinking that you still haven't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi-kun, but now you seem fine. Fine! With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. How can you still doubt Rena after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today. I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. I really hoped that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish, there's only one thing that I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of the Watanagashi up until last night. I wanted all of that to have never happened. Yeah. I wonder how many times I've wished for these past few days. As long as Rena kept on smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted Rena to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling. So, Keiichi-kun. There was mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. She doesn't look evil yet, though. Or, nuts. Rena's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. There was mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all? Of course she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Rena was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that. Keiichi-kun? I was reluctant to give an answer. Rena stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Mahabara. Rena was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry. My lips were stuck together. That would be the mochi. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. D? Rena playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Rena's reaction was still normal. It seems that there wasn't as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious. However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Rena's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly. But after a few moments, Rena broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well. I see. So did you eat all of them, I wonder? My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it. Huh? What about the homework to see if you could tell which one Rena made? That homework, was it due today? Yeah, it's due today. Michan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Rena. Lies. I recalled that unexpected, piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Rena's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Rena? No, that was wrong. That was still Rena. Ushi-san told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryuko-san moved away to Himurazawa, she was suspended from school. Yeah, she smashed all the mirrors, didn't she? Broke all the windows. That's the one. Windows. Oh. Rena had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school. Just imagine going through your own school breaking the windows with a bat. Swung in full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Classmates aghast. Unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Smash. Walk. Wind up. Walk. Wind up. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with the Rena smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant, piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Rena treads across the broken shards, walking towards me. God. Rena's classmates going pale as they forget to even breathe. I wondered what they did as Rena came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her, trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room after being directed there by their teachers? Probably none of those. They probably just sat there scared. In the face of that blood-curdling sight of Rena busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear a path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Rena to continue. It was far too violent an act for them to seek refuge by looking the other way. That's not to say they were looking the other way. They were doing the only thing they could do to protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Rena's new target. What would Rena have done to whoever attracted her attention? Smacked him with a bat! The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would, be the next window. Rena staring into my eyes, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn to her eyes, paralysed. Oh god. What's going on? Then Rena struck me with a bat over and over again like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Rena didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hits me again and again. Can you imagine? What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent. It was completely unnerving. It's because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make as pleasant a sound as the other windows. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Rena wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody saved me. Turn the blind eye unless we're hanging out. But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They'd gained nothing from saving a cram school, try hard like me. Oh, God. Eventually, there would be a faint sound, similar to when you crack open a walnut, and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Black spray? Would there be black in your blood? Anyway, it wasn't that Rena momentarily lost herself in her anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what Higurashi-san told me. And in the counsellor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Rena-san. It shows up. And quite a bit at that. Yeah, the demon, wasn't it? She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Following that, Rena was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Rena was undergoing counselling, she said it over and over. It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night. Standing over her pillow, looking down at her. Oh. That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy little conversation. Then, what Rena did, was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happened because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Higurashi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men and not of some curse. Yeah. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Rena had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Rena. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Rena's fault. Oyashiro was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that the curse exists, or that Rena and the rest of them were deeply involved in a string of mysterious deaths. I didn't want to think about it. It's been really repetitive right now, and it's saying it over and over and over and over. We get it, it's either the curse or the people that he wants to believe did it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I'd received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience. Regardless of my opponent being a human or curse, I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in. For no good reason at all. Keiichi-kun? Oh, they made it at school. You've been making a really weird face. Why, I wonder? Inhaling sharply upon hearing Rena's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I'd realised it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exorcised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Rena could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself? Calm himself down, I think. As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down on my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. Ah, typical. The chalk dust went into my eyes, inducing a brief moment of agony. Oh ho ho ho. I'll be fitting for the truant Keiichi-san. Good morning to both of you, Keiichi and Rena. Good morning, Satoko-chan, Rika-chan. Not quite in the mood for it, I didn't really react to Satoko's trap. Sadako braced herself as I passed by, expecting me to attack her. She seemed a bit disappointed as I simply walked away silently. He's not in the mood, is he? He's really not. What is this? How discouraging indeed. Keiichi doesn't seem back to his usual self yet. Yeah. Take it easy on him for today, okay? See, it all seems normal, but he knows that something's going on between them, so he really doesn't want to interact with them too much. Sorry. Hit the mic. Suddenly there was a slap down on my shoulder. It hurt a bit. Hey Kei-chan, did you get enough rest? It was Mion. My mind was full with the stuff about Rena, but Mion was also a party of interest. Remember Keiichi? That hawkish gaze from yesterday. Yeah, morning. What's with that unenergetic greeting? Did you eat the mochi I brought you? Because I ate them, I'm like this. Those words were itching to be blurted out. I really just didn't have the appetite. I ate a few, but quite a lot were left over. There were only 5 of them. Huh? What about the homework? Do you have an answer for which one was Rena's? I can't believe you'd forget your homework, Keiichi-kun. Sheesh, and we can't help it. Time for your penalty. They're gonna stab him. Flashing a lurid smile, Mion returned to his seat. There was nothing from our exchanges that would cause our classmates to suspect anything was amiss. But of course, anyone listening to our conversations up until this morning wouldn't see anything suspicious. That was why it was so frightening. They acted in a way that, regardless of whatever happened to Keiichi Maebara, no one would ever suspect them. That fact had me terrified. Soon the teacher came. After she asked how I felt and took attendance, another dull, ordinary day began. Everything seems so normal, but only because they want it to seem normal. How creepy. I was thinking that this would be the last chapter, you know, but I don't think it will be now. They put in quite a lot of filler to do with repeating Rena's past in her old school, smashing the windows and stuff, so that took up quite a bit of time. If they went without that, maybe it would have finished, I'm not too sure. Maybe we would have finished this chapter, I mean. Anyway, I know ending's there. I'm still not feeling 100%, so I'm still trying to just record an episode at a time kind of thing. And if I sound a bit bland, a bit monotone, then that would be why. So, this has been GreenXI. I hope you've enjoyed anyway, regardless. Thanks for watching so much. I'll see you again in a bit, folks. Oh, wait. Make sure to keep an eye out for something. I don't know if I'll be putting it up quite yet, or if it'll be after this series finishes. I'm not too sure yet. I wanted to get a second series on the go at the same time as this one was ending, kind of thing. But with my cold and stuff getting pretty bad, I really want to have a bit more energy to start that series off. So even once this series finishes, maybe there won't be a new series for a couple of days until this is completely gone, kind of thing. Which I'm gutted about, because I really wanted to get it up as soon as I could. But never mind. Anyway, see you in a bit, folks.